the Superman thing is interesting. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, proof is in the pudding. But first, they have to get through these weird films that they inherited, and hopefully
they're nothing but holdovers. And
Yeah.
it's like we're just going to try and minimize our losses. We'll maintain
Right.
the facade that this is some kind of viable universe that can still go on until they're out, until we've made our money, and then we'll can it.
Well, they kind of have to, right? Like, I mean, this weekend the Super Bowl kicks off, and they've got Flash trailer, which is our first official trailer of this movie that's been being made for 22 years. In fact, I think it officially has been shooting longer than The Rise of Palpatine.
Whoa.
It's got so much, like, all of these movies have got negative baggage. You've got Ezra Miller and all of his issues with Flash. You've got Amber Heard, who's still attached to Aquaman 2. Like, man, there's so much
beauty
to,
of that
to deal with
Drinker
there.
was, I mean, a lot of the rumors I was hearing were pretty spot on up until James Gunn came into the picture, and then I quit hearing everything. But up to that point, until James Gunn came in, they were looking at replacing Ezra Miller. They were looking at replacing Amber Heard. They were looking at possibly trying to reconfigure things as they were. So, I mean, part of me, I'm with you. I'm like, I don't understand why they got rid of Cavill and all that business. But at the same time, I just let it go because I'm like, look, I'm to the point where there's so much baggage just with all this stuff that even when I look at Superman now, I don't see Superman anymore. I see Henry Cavill. So I mean, unless he picks, somebody who's horrible at the role, I'm ready for somebody new to be Superman. Because I haven't really had that in so long that, not since really Christopher Reeve, basically, where I felt like I looked at an actor and they were Superman.
He was good. Christopher Reeve was.
Yeah, I think, well, it's nothing wrong with Henry Cavill. I just think he's gotten too big for the role now.
But
I think there's just too much baggage.
Even the Christopher Reeve thing, I have objections to even the second film where the bad guys were wearing dancer outfits. Sparkly dancer outfits.
They looked fabulous, Paul.
And then the third movie was wretched. So there's no guarantee that having a good Superman, a good actor, is going to save your movie.
You didn't like the men's ballet unitards?
I was gonna say, outside of the costumes, I don't know if anybody will agree with you because most people actually like Superman 2 more than they did 1.
It was okay. I thought it was pretty good.
I prefer the Donner cut. I was just gonna say, yeah.
I think everyone references that.
I didn't see the Donner cut.
It's a better version outside of the ending. I don't know why Richard went with the original ending, but other than that, it's a much more superior cut.
Wasn't the second movie done by not Lasseter?
Richard Lester.
Richard Lester? Wasn't the second movie done by Richard Lester?
Well, they shot Superman and Superman 2 simultaneously. So by the time they got to a point where they're like, well, we're running out of money, they had about 70% of 2 shot and roughly about the same of part 1 shot. And the Salkinds and the other people were like, look, just get the first movie done so we can get it out and make some money so we can even finish the second film. And in between there, when the movie became a huge success, they fired Richard Donner. They brought in Richard Lester, had him reshoot a bunch of stuff because the director has to shoot at least 50% of the movie to get credit.
Oh.
So all that stupid crap in Paris, some of the dumber shit that people don't like about Superman 2 is a lot of that's Richard Lester.
Which is why they gave him all of film 3.
Yes.
Yeah. What was the reason for firing Donner?
He did not get along with Pierre Spengler at all. In fact, they supposedly had either a full-on fight on the set, either verbally or I've heard versions of it where they actually got to fists. And he was booted from the set for the rest of the shoot.
Wow.
And then after the movie was done, they told Richard, you're no longer needed.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
And what they did is they took the ending for part 2, they slapped it onto part 1. So the original ending of part 2 was actually him going back in time and fixing shit. Because after the destruction of Metropolis and everything like that. The original ending of part 1 is he just ended up stopping both missiles in time. That's the original ending. But the result was throwing the one out in space, let the bad guys go.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
I'm going to be the only person here, but I really liked Superman 3, and I don't care what you say.
I like Superman 3.
It's got Richard Pryor in it. Come on.
Is that the one with the big supercomputer thing?
As well.
Yeah, it's kind of got a proto Brainiac kind of thing going on.
I always remember the bit where the woman gets like sucked into the computer system and like turned into
That's
a
what I mean.
feather thing.
was so
That's what I'm
campy.
talking about.
That was
Yeah.
fucking terrifying as a kid. It was horrible.
Right?
Not only that, as Office Space points out, that's actually a very ingenious idea as long as you don't fuck up the decimal point. I'm only screwing up some mundane thing like that. Mundane? That's hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's not mundane.
Office Space.
It was so good, and it took it all at once. What?
Yeah.
It's so good.
I always screw up some stupid mundane detail.
Hollywood
Anyway.
does not know computers.
No, I know. Well, that's what I love about Superman 3 too, is it's irreverence and it's fun. But 4 was just horrible.
Yeah, I think Christopher Reeve pretty much disowned it, didn't he?
Well, it was sad because that was his baby, and it was Canon that killed it. Really, they took away all the money.
Yeah. Who was the guy that was in 2.5 Men and he was like playing one of the like little
Gutenberg?
punk kid? No.
No, it's what's his face? He plays Lex Luthor's nephew, and now he plays. Lex Luthor.
Yeah, that's the one. Whatever his name is, like, but I remember a story from him where
John Cryer. Yeah,
John Cryer, that's it.
Ducky.
And yeah, he was really excited, to be on this movie. It was one of his first big roles, and they were getting ready for the premiere. And he's like, "Oh man, it's like it's great that we're." He spoke to Christopher Reeve, and he's like, "This is pretty awesome." My first big movie, and Christopher Reeve said to him, "Yeah, don't get excited. This is gonna absolutely tank. It's awful."
Well, they took the movie away from him, and it got destroyed. Yeah.
The budget wasn't there.
that
either.
It was set up on a bad premise to begin with. That's the problem. And Christopher Reeve was told that by several people at DC, that this is a reason why we don't tackle this story with Superman, is because he could end nuclear war like that. And that's a problem. So like you don't want to really get into that kind of crap. And he didn't listen to him, and between that and the whole nuclear man idea and everything just kind of fell apart. Canon took away all their funding. I'm surprised they actually afforded to get Gene Hackman back, but yeah. Other than that, it was a sad, sad time. But I think we're headed towards a different kind of time here with DC, but we'll have to wait.